Hi, everybody, it's me again. Well, it's about that time, isn't it? It's remake time, and boy, have I got quite the remake for you. I have. I was at one point going to try and make an Aladdin remake review when the remake came out, but um, it didn't go through, and I didn't feel like it was right. But one of the things that I tried to say in there is that I find a guilty pleasure in these Disney remakes. Whether it's because I get to cosplay for some of them at the movie theaters or just because I get to relive the nostalgia of seeing them in theaters or even or even enjoy the feeling of what it's like to go see these movies in theaters when they came out before I was born, something like that. And well, I often have fun with them. I don't mind that some of them are the exact same story. A few technical levels will bother me, whether like with the Lion King, the empty expressions, or with the Beauty and the Beast remake, rushed decisions. But other times, remakes like the Jungle Book will surprise me with the different changes that they throw in and are willing to take a chance at. Or even with the Aladdin remake, some of the character developments that were surprisingly not in the original movie. And then there comes that one stinker that you cannot stand. For many people, it's probably the Lion King remake. I I enjoyed it and I'll explain why later, even though you probably already see my review. But for me, the biggest Disney remake stinker so far is the Lady and the Tramp remake. Why? Well, we'll talk about the several reasons why this one really got under my skin compared to a lot of the other Disney remakes that many people say sucked or had no soul. This one sucked, and I can't say have no soul because, let's face it, movies don't have, I quote unquote, don't have souls. I mean, they just have the feeling of one. But yeah, this movie lacked the feeling of a soul and made me feel like I was wasting a lot, a lot of time watching it. It was dreary. No, not dreary. It was frustrating to watch. This was a frustrating movie for me to watch. How about I just get into what both the original and the remake are about? Lady is a dog from a wealthy street. I no is a wealth. I mean, is a dog that belongs to a wealthy family, and Tramp is a dog that just lives on the street and has basically no name. We just call him Tramp for no reason. We just call him Tramp because he's just a tramp. And they cross paths, and after a spaghetti date, they fall in love. That's basically about it. I I mean, the original basically was a simple, interesting kind of story. It was not that big. It was not massive. It didn't have groundbreaking characters or really groundbreaking animation. It just told a simple story and a simple plot line, but with beautiful animation. And yeah, simple characters, but at the same time, likable. And even had music that was very sweet, genuine. Everything felt genuine about this movie. I mean, I don't know if I'd go into saying that it's one of Disney's stronger movies or anything like that, but at the same time, it was sweet and gentle, and it knew when to, I mean, it knew how to tell a good story, and it knew how to pace it well. And it was easy to follow, too. And even though I liked it as a kid, I watched it over and over, I think I like it more as an adult because I get a lot of things that are going on now. I mean, a lot of things make more sense in there. And also, it's just gorgeous to look at. It's beautiful. And the fact that they actually could draw these dogs, and I'm pretty sure that they took a live form of each of these dogs and just sketched them on paper. Heck, that's what they did a lot of the time at that time. And heck, I didn't even think you could make a Cocker Spaniel look very pretty. But they did. And now let's get into the remake and what a lot of trouble it's going into. But before I bash its brains, I am going to I'll talk about the good stuff. I mean, what's good about this movie? Because even in the worst cases, there's always something good about a movie. And I try to look for those. The scenery of the environment of the film, just like just like the original movie, is absolutely beautiful. I mean, the intro is gorgeous. It starts out as a drawing before it transfers into live action. And Jim Deere and Darling, the ladies' humans, start out looking like, they almost look like the animated characters. It's just great. Or at least for the most that we've seen them. And I'm not upset in this one that we see more of their faces, because it's live action. You kind of have to do that. And every now and then in the animated movie, we did see their faces. Kind of. And also, I have to give credit that the dogs in here are not CGI, except for when they talk. Which, given what Disney's been doing lately with live action animals, that's an accomplishment. Heck, even Lady when she's a baby is just absolutely adorable. I just want to hug her. But of course, but out of all the characters in there, Trusty has surprisingly got to be my favorite dog character in there. Mainly because he looks right and he sounds right. I mean, the choices in there were just flawless, and I loved it. And I was always eager to hear more about Old Reliable in there. And the voice acting, as well as the in-person acting, is actually decent from everyone. From the person doing the voice doing Aunt Sarah to the singer for He's a Tramp. Though Tony and Joe have got to be my favorite human actors so far. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but in both the animated movie and in the live action movie, Tony's smile is just enduring and contagious. I just can't help smiling along. And one cool thing that they did, that the live action movie did, is they brought back the choir from the first movie. It's just really cool to hear them again. It just helps me to feel bad that this movie is what they got tagged back into. And also the ending where Darling sings the intro song is absolutely beautiful and heartwarming. And I still wish the whole movie was beautiful and heartwarming. Because, oh boy, this is where we get into all the bad stuff. The first thing that bothers me about it is that it's a shot-for-shot remake. For the record, that doesn't bother me as much because, Beauty and the Beast was a shot-for-shot remake. Lion King was a shot-for-shot remake. I can't really say that about Aladdin necessarily because they added a few differences about 45% differences to not exactly be the same. But this one is pretty much a shot-for-shot remake, which usually does not bother me. If the story wasn't messed up in an overly complicated and out-of-order pattern, which is this movie's biggest problem. The once simple and easy story is now needlessly complicated in all the wrong ways, rushed in relationships, motivations are flip flopped, and occasionally has the important scenes in all the wrong moments. And I'm going to bring back the subject of The Lion King just so you get an idea of what I mean on this. Okay, despite many people considering The Lion King remake to be a soulish rehash, the story was easy to follow, the comedy felt legit, especially from Zazu, and the characters had understandable motives. You knew what was going on. You knew how they were going to say it, or why they said what they said, even if their expressions were not fitting the setting. It was easy to follow. They followed the pattern of the story. I maybe added a few things, but it was still simple to follow, and I wasn't bothered by it as much. I cannot say the same thing about Lady and the Tramp. On occasion they followed the pattern of the story, but on a lot of other occasions they overly complicated a lot of very simple situations, which should not have been overcomplicated. And it angered me as a writer. It really angered me. So, yeah, I prefer the live-action remake of The Lion King rather than this. Back to Lady and the Tramp, and explain what things were overly complicated, messed up, or flip-flopped. So, so part of what also helped it to not work was that the dialogue in all the wrong moments just looks awkward. Like when Lady says aloud that she'll wake Jim Dear and Darling up rather than just doing it. No words necessary. In fact, most of the dialogue is awkwardly written, and I don't mean like the main character. I just don't like the main characters at all. Lady is blandly snarky, and Tramp's just plain not interesting other than his backstory. And good grief, here's where we come to the flip-flopped motivation. Lady's loyalty to Jim Dear and Darling straight up makes no sense in every way. Her humans neglect her when the baby's born and banish her from the room, fulfilling Tramp's warning: when a baby moves in, the dog moves out. Lady sees he's right and still says that she can't leave them, and they wouldn't do that to her despite that they clearly did that to her. There's even a moment where after she's being taken from home to the pound, Lady wants Tramp to come where she's being taken home from the pound. Lady wants Tramp to come back and see her, even though he absolutely deserted her. And when he does arrive, she banishes him. What is wrong with these motivations? At least in the original, you got why she banished him. Despite that she had strong feelings for him, he not only accidentally and not deliberately left her behind, but also he had other girlfriends. Here, she drops him for no reason except in the name of undeserved loyalty to her abandoning humans. Heck, when the humans finally bond Lady with the baby after the pound experience, it is not earned. There was no build-up to Jim Dear and Darling caring about Lady after the baby's born in any way. If you expect me to care about their relationship, you need to give some indication. Even just a short, loving glance from the humans would have done enough. Let's also get to Tramp. I said that he's plain not interesting, which is true. But the writers try to shoehorn in that he has a heart of gold, that he's not as tough as he looks, even though he's kind of already got that in the first movie, just hidden in a carefree lifestyle. When they tried to make him care for Lady, it is very unjustified. When Lady gets taken to the pound, he doesn't just get split up from her, he watches her as she's getting taken away. Yes, that happened. And the dog, and good grief, his chases with the dog catcher, I hate it. The dog catcher is way too obsessed with catching him, and for absolutely no reason. It's not because he's another stray dog, but rather because he's too dangerous for no clear reason. Heck, he's way too cartoony. I also gave credit that the dogs aren't CGI, but the cats are not only not Siamese, but they are very clearly CGI and very creepy looking. And before you even ask, no, they do not sing that iconic We Are Siamese song. I guess they thought it'd be racially insensitive. I don't know. You debate about that. I'm not debating. And and also the meeting of the characters is all rushed. Even the baby's arrival is rushed. You remember in the first movie where she's introduced to the understanding of a baby many months before the baby's born, and is warned when the baby moves in, dog moves out, and she's dreading all that time. She's wondering what's going to happen to me when the baby's born. And then eventually, when she meets the baby, she finds there was nothing to worry about. The tramp was all wrong. Well, in here, they rush that too. There's no preparation or dread from Lady about her fate. Just a baby shower and the child arrives. Also, this one's probably a nitpick, but at the same time, I guess it's what you prefer. I don't know what to think about making Jacques a girl. On the one hand, it's an interesting idea to give Lady a friend who is a girl, but at the same time, it was kind of cool to see him as a guardian. And I don't know about you, but I like guys' Scottish voices, and he just sounded awesome. I guess this one's more just about preference. But yeah, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't think I have ever been this angry about a movie since I watched Mean Girls 2. Don't look that movie up, by the way. The original movie, like I said, was simple but beautiful. The pacing, the writing, the animation, and the characters were done wonderfully. Maybe it's more underrated than it deserves to be. I don't know, other than the iconic spaghetti scene. But this movie remake was an absolute mess in every way. One of the other things that should have been a sign is that this thing did not show up in theaters. When it came out, it went straight to Disney Plus. I only saw it because of Disney Plus. I saw trailers of it, but I didn't have much optimism. And though in the trailers, the most that I hoped was that it would develop Lady and the Tramp's relationship. It doesn't. It rushes the important scenes and drags on the non-important scenes. And that is what's wrong with this movie. And that's part of what's wrong with this movie. And what makes it so infuriating. And I am not retracting my statement for now. For now, I am not retracting my statement that by far this is the worst Disney live-action remake I have seen so far. And if Disney continues to do live-action remakes without thought, hope, or even try to put it in the theater so that somebody could care, then no. So yeah, I'd rather watch films like The Lion King remake. I'd rather watch Maleficent 2, stupid Maleficent 2. I'd rather watch that than this because it looks like it had an understandable plot, even if it's a messed up one. So, do I recommend this one? No. No, I don't. It's mainly if you like, if you're into storytelling, I don't recommend it. However, if you do like dogs and just want to see dogs, okay. That's okay. But I still recommend the original one. Heck, I even recommend the 101 Dalmatians remake with Glenn Close. Because at least those dogs are real as well. And you get more of an experience out of that one than you get this. And that's it. Lady and the Tramp remake sucks.